Realty.
All right, everybody, we are continuing our discussion last week with the lovely ladies from Remax Diamond Realty Guam. Gina and Liz are here. You're normally seated on the other way, but
Yeah, Liz makes me move around.
We swap out.
a little change is good.
She likes change.
Yeah. Now, Gina, of course, you were sharing the very, very honest story. And again, thank you for your candor last week. You were telling us about how your mom left us, and basically she left you with somewhat of an obligation because the property was not
Yeah,
deeded between you and your siblings.
She didn't take any of my advice.
So we're actually going to continue that conversation now because
Yeah.
it did elicit like a lot of really good feedback, and a lot of people were saying,
Yeah.
I had no idea, or I just didn't know that, like the cost
Yeah,
as well as the
yeah.
emotional burden.
Yeah, yeah. I think for us it was more the emotional burden. We knew we had everything done. It was, getting that settled, and then what do you do to move forward? But I wanted to share it because here we are giving advice every week, or trying to, and I couldn't even get my own family to listen to the advice. It's a difficult decision, but for those who can embrace the concept that this is probably better if you make the decision and you get all the paperwork done for your children or your family, for those who are willing to take that step, we kind of want it to go into, so then what? What do you do? What do you honestly do once you are willing to make that decision?
And that's where we left off last time, because you said, just to recap, you and your brothers and sisters, you said in a matter of 10 minutes, you very amicably and in a very civil fashion, you figured out what you were going to do.
Well, we figured out what we were going to do, but in terms of the paperwork end of it, we're going to be stuck going through probate. We elected to have give it to my oldest brother. He's the oldest boy, so it went to him. We decided to follow tradition. So it was easy. But what if a parent right now has listened to that program and says, you know what, my kids are right. I do need to make the decision instead of leaving the burden to the children. What if they end up fighting? What if they don't get along? What are they going to do?
Now, to be completely frank, Liz, I know, and you've told me this on and off camera, this is Guam. It's we're a very family-oriented community, but also like drama can ensue sometimes, and siblings who get along all their lives and everything like that. When you involve money and you involve property, sometimes squabbles can start. And you said that actually happens quite often.
It happens quite often, and we see it. Usually when we get listings, sometimes they say, well, we want to list property, but our sibling does not want to sell, and we want to sell. So, they come for advice. How, of course, again, we're not attorneys, we're not CPAs, but we relate some of the experiences, we've gone through. And I mean, I've even heard a story where this woman decided to give her property to her son, and with the hopes that he would take care of her. So she deeded it to him, and then, and this happened in Hawaii. And then what happened was he actually moved her into an old folks home, and then he sold the house. So of course, I'm sure she wasn't happy with that. But here we've had families, individuals that would actually do a life estate, and what they've done is they would deed it to a child or a couple of the children, and then it's a life estate, meaning that the parent would live there until they pass on, and then the property will revert to the children. So at least there's a chain of ownership, versus if something happened to that parent, then it'll go to probate. But in a life estate, what happens is it's given to someone, they own it, but not until the person passes. So Gina and I were just talking, there are a number of different ways to pass property on to your heirs. Of course, the parent will have to decide, depending on the number of children they have. Sometimes they may want to have a discussion with the family to make that decision. Sometimes as a parent, we decide what we want. We always ask, what's the intent? I had a family that came in, and 6 of the children, mother wanted to deed the property to the 6 kids, and she's elderly. And my question was, what is your intent? What do you want to happen? And she wanted all 6 of them to have the property. But of course, not all 6 of them can occupy the home. Yeah. So then I said, okay, if the intent is for all 6, does that mean that the intent is for them to sell it and then the proceeds divided? So those are questions that have to be raised through this process.
And that's when it gets tricky. So
Yes.
maybe, Gina, can you roadmap this for us? Where do you and your siblings go from here, and as far as a timetable, what are you looking at in terms of months? Hopefully not years.
Well, yes, years. You know, for us, it's too late because my mom left without making that decision. So for us, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to, if my brother wanted to, or we can help him, but we have to put money together, get an attorney, and take the property to probate so the court can pass the title to the heirs. And because we all agree it goes to one person, then it'll be easy for the court. We still all have to show up at court and agree that it goes to my brother. So if he wanted to do that, then he could put the money together. I estimate it's like $3,000 to $5,000. It really depends on the value of the property. But for families who want to make that decision now, what they could do is if they've got a lawyer that they know that they want to go talk to, you go to that lawyer and you say, hey, here's what I'm thinking of doing. I want to give it to this child or that child or all the children. And can you help me do the paperwork? And your attorney will help you do the paperwork. And then you go and record it. It's important that if you've made the decision, record it. Don't go without recording the document. It's not going to help anybody. Or if you don't want to go that route, you don't know of an attorney, then I would recommend you go to one of the 3 local escrow companies here, Title Guarantee, Security Title, Pacific American. You go in there and you talk to an escrow person and you say, here's what my intentions are. What do I do? And they'll contact their attorney to prepare the documents for you. And they'll get it recorded for you. And you pay a fee. You'll pay a fee to your attorney. You pay a fee to the escrow company. But at least you'll get, that's the advice I can give. If you want to make the decision, those are the 2 places I would say go seek help from them.
And again, you were saying like not only the time, but as far as the dollar amount involved with this, it would have been only a few $100s just to do the filing fees and the administrative cost versus
probate.
several thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Okay, well, we do appreciate it
Absolutely.
once again. And thank you so much for the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, please stay tuned, everybody.